I now invite Dawson Rose, President of the Class of 2025, to address the class.
Woo!
Thank you. Hello, my name is Dawson Rose. I'm the senior class president, and I'm truly honored to speak in front of all of you today. Back in my sophomore year J-term, I had an experience that stuck with me ever since. Alongside 11 of my classmates, I found myself on the most grueling hike of my life. The pack pressed into my shoulders, and with every step, my legs grew heavier. We checked our map only to realize that the peak was 3 miles away, another hour of hiking. We trudged along, but I just couldn't move any further. We stopped, and through the thick forest, light peered through. I took a moment to follow the path, which brought me to a clearing in the brush. Miles of nature and woodland stretched out in front of me. I was thousands of feet high, and it was only then, in a clearing, that I realized how far I'd come. I share this memory because looking back, that hike feels like the perfect metaphor for our journey through school. Long, tiring, filled with moments when we wanted to stop, but also filled with discovery, growth, and perspective. We spent years climbing, studying, stressing, laughing, and learning, and now, for the first time, we can look out and see how much progress we've made. Graduation is one of those days we'll remember forever. It's special not because it marks the end of high school, but because it's the moment we can finally see the meaning in all the steps it took us to get here. I remember way back in elementary school, the time we received our school emails. 25 euros is my username. 25, I asked? That's your graduation year, my teacher said. The class of 2025. At the time, it felt like an arbitrary number, 10 years away. Too far for my third grade mind to consider. The thought passed by, and I went on to suffer from an IXL assignment. Little did I know, the struggle would continue in the form of DBQs, SAT prep, and eventually AP exams. And along the way, like many of you, I questioned the point of it all. I would hear complaints, most for myself, that what we were learning through these assignments was useless, that we will never use the information in our professional lives. I've read articles and watched videos about how school doesn't teach you how to build a life you want. But over these years, I've asked myself, why would it? The purpose of school is not to accomplish your life goals, but instead to teach you the basic life skills to help you get there. School teaches you to be okay with doing the work you don't want to do, sometimes talking to people you don't want to talk to, all to get a grade that you might not have wanted. Because when you're working towards your goals, whether it's a business, a career, or simply the life you envision, every step is not going to be easy. School taught us discipline, and although I was tempted to use ChatGPT for this speech, I promise you I wrote it myself. So do not disregard school as a waste of time. Instead, see it as a foundation, a set of habits and skills that will launch a person to their goals. Of course, an ordinary system is not going to help you do extraordinary things. That part is up to us. Ambitions cannot be fulfilled by school alone. Dreams aren't achieved by the system, they're built by the people who chase them. And that's what makes this day so special. Although a big milestone, it is far from the end of your achievements. A reminder that there are infinite possibilities waiting for you, a whole mountain waiting to be climbed. I hope every one of you carries the belief that if something is physically possible, it is possible. And that might sound obvious, but let me give you an example of what I mean. On December 8th, 1903, the New York Times published an article saying that, quote, man won't fly for a million years. 9 days later, on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers had their first successful flight. The Wright brothers looked at birds and said, flight is physically possible, and they set out to prove it to themselves. So the only limit to your goals should be the limit of physics, not what your friends, your parents, or even the New York Times says. Find what excites you, what really matters to you, and go after it. If it feels out of reach, that's okay. But don't look back and wonder what could have happened if you tried. Because if the Wright brothers could teach themselves to fly in a world that told them it was impossible, then you can defy the odds of any dream you're holding on to. But it would not be fair to end this speech without thanking some of the people closest to me, and of course the many people who have helped us along the way. Thank you to the families of the senior class for showing your support on this special day. It means more than you know to the graduates of our class that you are here. Thank you, teachers, all of which have been so kind, so smart, and have never turned down an opportunity to help me or any one of my peers. Thank you to the administrators who never stopped emailing and planning and making this year easier for all of us. Thank you to my best friends and to my girlfriend who all inspire me to be a better person every day. And of course, thank you to my mom and dad. Mom, thank you for putting up with countless late nights of me procrastinating my homework and being the most supportive and aggressively defensive person in my life. You've never shied away from my struggles or worries, and I will always have someone to lean on because of you. Dad, thank you for always cheering me on and being the one I go to for life's big decisions. You're one of my best friends, and you have taught me so many lessons that I will keep with me forever. Finally, I want to thank the class of 2025. From middle school field trips to senior prom, the memories I've made with so many of you will truly last me a lifetime. So class, this is it. Years of studying, smiles, and tears. Maybe it felt worth it at times, maybe it didn't. But you can be sure that these years shaped us, and they are now coming to an end. I know that we are all excited for the future and for what all of us have accomplished, but I implore you to not think of this day as reaching the peak of the mountain, as a journey complete. High school is over, and we completed a great thing, but we've only reached base camp. We have an entire life full of obstacles and rocks to overcome, winding paths and forks in the trail, a whole mountain to explore and conquer. But no matter how high your mountain is, how steep, how jagged, remember, during the hike of life we are about to embark on, to take a moment in the clearing and look back on how far you've come. Thank you.
Woo!
Dawson!
Thank you, Dawson.